Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. If 4 years ago, when attorney John Deaton filed his writ of mandamus suing the SEC, if at that point in time the SEC had just done what John wanted, and which was, by the way, just to be clear, what John wanted was just for the SEC to declare that XRP itself is not a security, and for the SEC to not specifically attack XRP. That's all he wanted. That's all he asked for. If they had just done that, John Deaton wouldn't have sought to interject any further in the SEC v. Ripple case. He would have just said, okay, you got some beef with Ripple and how they transacted certain, with their clients, institution level, so on and so forth, certain transactions, go for it. And John Deaton said as much many times publicly. But that's not what happened. The SEC refused to state that XRP itself is not a security, and so what happened? Well, they got John Deaton's what they got. And that's good, great for us, bad for them, very, very bad for them, because John Deaton ended up filing his amicus in the SEC v. Ripple case, got approved by Judge Torres, and ended up representing over 75,000 XRP holders that said, no, the SEC's wrong and they're harming us. That's who John Deaton represented, and we know it mattered because Judge Torres, in the SEC v. Ripple case, when she finally filed their summary judgment, cited those XRP holders that attorney Deaton represented. He made a material difference in the outcome of this case. That's not speculation. That's not a subjective take. That's objective fact is what happened. And it's incredible to see. Like, you do not want John Deaton on your bad side. I'll just say that. This guy has some serious fight in him. And so the SEC, they done messed up, didn't they? Oh, yes, they done messed up. But it's not just the SEC. You see, what's been going on for the last several years with this Biden administration, it came from the top on down. Not a whole lot of support on the Democrat side when it comes to crypto. You may have noticed over the last 4 years. And that's not my opinion either. Look at voting records. It's a very small percentage of Democrats that have voted anything positive for crypto. And it was literally from the top on down here. And so there was Operation Choke Point 2.0, which is basically shutting down the on-ramps and off-ramps for crypto in the United States. Rather than having to attack literally every cryptocurrency in existence, just shut that down and the banking opportunities for any firms that want to operate in the United States, and it's dead. That was the strategy. But now that John Deaton is heavily involved in the world of crypto as a result of all of this, he might have the opportunity. I mean, I would love to see this anyway. I have no idea what the odds are for this. But he has volunteered to investigate Operation Choke Point 2.0 in an effort, obviously, to bring those responsible for it to justice. And so, definitely someone's got to do it, but I'm telling you what, like, John Deaton would be the man for this. If you want to talk about somebody that clearly has the passion and the fire in the belly to get this thing done, yeah, it's attorney John Deaton, unquestionably, right? And they wouldn't have this against them if they just would have not been douchebags. If they could have been regular people and not irrationally, for no damn good reason, just try to destroy an entire industry, then they wouldn't have to deal with it. But oh, now they do. And by the way, just in case anybody's curious, for a little bit of a historical perspective, because again, this is Operation Choke Point 2.0, well, that must mean that there was a 1.0, correct? Yes, let me catch you up to speed in case you're curious. This is an article from The Hill from November 7th, 2018. Operation Choke Point reveals true injustices of Obama's Justice Department. A little-known program carried out by President Obama's Department of Justice, DOJ for short, whipsawed small business for years, and to date, no one has been held accountable. Federal officials pressured banks to close the accounts of businesses solely because they were ideologically opposed to their existence. This runs counter to the very principles of due process and fairness that form the backbone of our nation's laws. This program, known as Operation Choke Point, operated unrestrained for years. Officials at both the Comptroller of the Currency, OCC, and the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, threatened banks with regulatory pressure if they did not bend to their will. Gun and ammunition dealers, payday lenders, and other businesses operating legally suddenly found banks terminating their accounts with little explanation aside from regulatory pressure. So that's right. That was Operation Choke Point 1.0, and it was put to bed under the Trump administration. They squashed it until Biden got back in, of course, and then it got worse. And so, again, it was basically they found certain industries and business practices from their perspective to be unsavory. They were effectively sins, right? So then you hammer them so that you get what you want, which is not the way this country's supposed to work. And so what was cited, they give two examples here, including payday lenders. Oh, this is scummy payday lenders. Okay, fine. Whether you like them or don't like them, the thing is, if you think that those practices are okay to put that business, that legally operating business, out of business, you got to understand one day they might come for you if they don't like what you're doing. You have to stay principled and say, hey, this actually isn't okay. Because if you're unprincipled, like maybe you're a crypto bro, and you're like, yeah, get rid of them payday lenders, but then they come after crypto and you're like, no, I'm a crypto bro, but they still came for you. And they're taking the hammer to you now. So stay principled. And so that is what's happened. They've absolutely been taking a hammer to all of our, this is what they're doing, to the entire crypto asset class, trying to ruin your, yes, you listening, trying to ruin your opportunity for life-changing wealth. That is exactly what they've done. And so this article from Cointelegraph, pro-crypto lawyer John Deaton offers to probe Operation Choke Point 2.0. It's referencing this here. So I'm not going to read the article. I'm going to go straight to the source. This is what attorney John Deaton had to say. As a former prosecutor and special assistant United States attorney, I am very serious about volunteering to help lead a federal investigation into Choke Point 2.0. I would accept the task without salary. The American people deserve the truth a hell of a lot more than I or anyone else needs another taxpayer-funded paycheck. I'll just pause to state, of course, that's obviously very respectable, although I wouldn't care if he or anybody who ends up taking this on were paid necessarily. It's necessary. But I respect where he's coming from with that. And worth noting, all of the work that he did in the SEC v. Ripple case, he did on his own dime. He didn't get paid for that at all. And it cost him a lot of time and stress that he shouldn't have had to take on, but he wanted to do what was right. And so this is true John Deaton. He is in his true form right here. He just wants to fight and do what's right. And he's in a position where he can afford to do that. But still, I mean, he's sacrificing something. Like, he's definitely sacrificing something. It's not just monetarily, it's also his time. But anyway, then he says, I've been fighting the SEC's gross overreach for 4 years pro bono, so doing the same to help uncover multi-agency coordination and possible corruption related to Choke Point 2.0 would be both an honor and a privilege. A lot of people, including some in crypto, underestimate the significance of Choke Point 2.0. In the middle of the Ripple case, which I argued was the most significant non-fraud SEC enforcement action in modern history, I still described Caitlin Long and Custodia Banks versus the Federal Reserve as the most important filed case involving the crypto industry and, arguably, the most important filed case involving the concept of free market capitalism, the foundation of America's economic system. So I'll pause to note, I very well remember that lawsuit as it pertained to Custodia Bank, which is a cryptocurrency first bank. Hammer was getting taken to him. Not surprising, given that the Biden administration has been charged for several years here, and they just want to break it. But I remember talking about that at the time and noting, so yeah, he's saying this is worse than the Ripple lawsuit. And so I can understand, like, I even noted at the time, I was like, look, I understand if you're an XRP holder, it feels like this is the worst thing that's happening. And to you, on it's an individual level, that may very well be the case. But in crypto, like, you're talking about like, shutting down Operation Choke Point 2.0. It's shutting down the bank, the on-ramps and off-ramps as it pertains to the banking system touching our industry in any capacity. If that can't happen, you couldn't even offload anything you sell anyway. You couldn't use a bank then. So John Deaton, he was right when he said this is actually worse than the Ripple case. Yeah. Sorry to say, it's that much more serious. And so, yes, you know, if you're in the XRP community like me, maybe you're more interested and very, very much more stressed out about the SEC v. Ripple lawsuit. But in terms of big picture, what matters more, I mean, he's right. Anyway, John continues. At their core, Custodia Bank's fight and Choke Point 2.0 go beyond digital assets. Banking charters are blockchain. It's about whether unelected bureaucrats can arbitrarily deny access to essential financial infrastructure, effectively picking winners and losers in the marketplace. It's about whether government agencies can wield unchecked power to restrict lawful businesses from accessing the critical financial infrastructure necessary to survive and thrive in a free market economy. If these actions go unchallenged, it creates a dangerous precedent where regulatory bodies can quietly suppress entire industries they disfavor, stifling innovation, competition, and economic opportunity. That's right, folks. And that's why I say, whatever you think, as they cited the guns and ammunition and payday lenders, I don't care if you're for or against that in general, whether you think it's scummy or delightful. But in particular, if you are one of those people that thinks it's terrible, you gotta understand, if we're not living in a principled world, any of these things that are used to attack what you think is bad can be used then on you. And so that's exactly what has happened here. I just hope that everybody listening understands that. You gotta live a principled life and have a principled approach to these things, or else you could be the next one to be targeted. Like, that's just a matter of fact thing. And here we are in crypto, we were absolutely targeted. I am so thankful that there's this administration change coming in, because one of the primary factors for me when it came to voting absolutely had to do with my financial well-being, and crypto is a gigantic part of that. Anyway, John continues. Custodia and Chokepoint 2.0 are much bigger than crypto. They define whether America remains a place where the rule of law protects free enterprise, or where bureaucratic discretion is allowed to dismantle it. What's becoming increasingly clear is that Chokepoint 2.0 isn't just about isolated regulatory overreach. It represents a direct assault on the principles of American free market capitalism. At its core, our economic system thrives on open competition, innovation, and equal opportunity, not on regulators quietly picking winners and losers behind closed doors. When lawful businesses are cut off from essential financial services based on political agendas rather than established law, it doesn't just stifle one industry. It sets a dangerous precedent that threatens America's ability to remain a global leader in economic progress and innovation. The future of our economy depends on fair access to financial infrastructure, not selective enforcement driven by ideology. What we've learned thus far suggests coordinated, multi-agency action driven by political agendas rather than sound policy or law. If fully investigated, it could expose a network of decision makers leveraging their authority not to protect consumers or markets, but to suppress lawful industries they disfavor. What Trump, J.D. Vance, Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, Howard Lutnick, and David Sachs must know is that this isn't just a fight for crypto, it's a fight against the erosion of institutional integrity and the unchecked power of unelected bureaucrats. The outcome could determine whether America remains a nation governed by transparent laws or ruled by backroom deals and selective enforcement. Oh, that one gets a hearty golf clap. Incredible write-up there. Spot on, Attorney John Deaton. You'll love to see it. So, if magic unfolds and he actually ever were to have an opportunity to take a crack at that, that would be good for the American people. That would be absolutely incredible, and crypto at large, unquestionably here. And he wrote that reposting something from Cryptos R Us just in, and this is actually from January 3rd. Through a court order, Coinbase has obtained the unredacted files from the FDIC and its role in the Operation Chokepoint 2.0 agenda. So this stuff's going to make it to the surface. We're going to find out ultimately, especially given the fact that there is about to be an administration change based on the election that just unfolded in November. We're going to find out just how disgusting this was, and I'm going to be covering it in full. Oh, absolutely. Because I understand that what they've been doing for the last several years was a blatant attempt to ruin your opportunity and my opportunity for life-changing wealth in crypto. They just don't give a damn. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.